Hello there, welcome back to some more Vagrus adventures in this horrible but still beautiful wasteland. I did a little running around, just so I got a little extra money. 348. That means I can finally pay the 250 and still have almost 100 left. That is going to be perfect. So, I'm gonna finally be able to start working on the outpost. Also, the next step in the golden theory was 15 dice and 30 bright cap, which I have right here. So that's just a little trip away. And of course, as my luck has it, immediately after going all around and getting bright cap, few pieces at a time, I find this discounted as a faction offer. Oh well. Okay, since the next stop is going to be Lumen, is there anything? Okay, here's 1. And 2. And 3. Okay, that should be good enough. If there wasn't any, I could use these. Since I got the exploit leadership ability, that I can reroll these. The only problem I have with this is that it doesn't have a tooltip that would say how long its cooldown is. And so I always lose track of that. And also it looks like you can only reroll one type of quest at a time. I don't know what's up with that. Anyway, got nothing going on right now. Oh hey, look at that. I reached tier 2 with the Ratarnax. Which means I get +1 prospecting, engineering and herb lore. Yoink! And also blinders and combat cellulose for free. Okay, the way these faction rewards work is that you get these equipments once, and these passive abilities are ongoing. But if your reputation goes below this, then you're gonna lose this until you climb back up again. So currently, I'm just a little bit better off. I probably don't want to go above tier 3 with the Ratarnax, since I am not focusing on fighting, and they are all about that. I don't have anything. Okay. Here we go. Extra chase. Outrider, strength and defense. I think it isn't really better than the awnings. Maybe if I find a mage and put this heat shielding crystal up, that would essentially be the same as this one, just better. And then I can use something else here. We just have to see. Okay. Since it's official business, I think it was in the Temple District. Look for the Imperial official code. Capasius. Oh yeah, there was something, wasn't there? I think it was in the rumors. The man code. Capasius. Or Cepasius? I think you say it with a C. No, the... like Caesar. But I think the correct Latin word for that would be Kaiser. I don't know. Gonna call him Capasius. There is a man called Tullus Capasius in Torzak's shelter who is looking to hire an independent comitatus. He can be found in the city's temple district. Which is where we are, so this is no longer relevant. I can archive this. Okay, let's quickly see what he wants. Maybe it's gonna be a quest or something. You ask around for the official named Tullus Capasius. As it turns out, he is quite a well-known figure. He is one of the higher-ranking clerks responsible for the coordination and administration of ore shipments from the nearby quarries. Due to this, he is not hard to reach at all, for he frequently grants audiences to merchants. And as luck wills it, today he just happens to do so. There is a moderate queue of petitioners in front of his office in the temple district, but it advances surprisingly quickly. Ah, the famous imperial efficiency. After but a few hours, it is finally your turn. You are admitted into a clean, sparsely furnished office. The tidiness of the place stands in stark contrast with the half-lit chaos of the city below the large balcony. Tullus Capasius sits on an elevated chair without a backrest. Two guards stand on each side. He is a lean, middle-aged man with stern features, dressed in the traditional toga of imperial officials. With a curt hand wave, he beckons you closer, but then bids you stop a few steps later. Your plea? He asks calmly, looking mildly interested. He was probably waiting for someone like me. You clear your throat before speaking. I've heard you are looking for someone to do a job for you. Ah yes. Tullus Capasius stands up and begins to pace slowly and evenly up and down. This seems somehow uncharacteristic of him, but you guess this must be how he expresses anxiousness. As you very well know, I am responsible for the local quarries, production, shipments, tools of the trade, security, and the like. Unfortunately, things haven't been going well lately. Mines were raided, comitati were ambushed, reinforcements sent to the sites disappeared. Not quite irregular, you might say, and you would be perfectly right, if it weren't for the unusually high frequency and effectiveness of these incidents. He pauses, ponders for a moment, then continues. With time, I had to assume there is a new force in Hargat Tool, a force to be reckoned with, one which might have even somehow infiltrated Teneb Vitris. I believe someone is systematically raiding Imperial assets based on insider information. Since then, I've been experimenting with alternate supply routes, but to little avail. These people are cunning. I obviously don't know who they might be, but regarding the question where, I can take a good guess. Such an operation needs a base, and there is no better place for one than the ruins of Fort Laurius. Okay, so why not just raid it then? Don't be foolish. As I said, I do not know for sure. And also the resources at my disposal are disappointingly meager right now, due to this unknown party's incessant plundering, as well as the ruckus down south. If I send troops to Fort Laurius on a hunch and then turn out to be mistaken, I waste even more precious Imperial resources. Tullus Capasius doesn't mention it, but it would most likely also mean that his life would be forfeit. It seems he doesn't care for it as much as he does for the Empire. No, what I am in dire need of is reconnaissance. You mean someone to spy on the fort, you ask? I mean infiltration, if there is someone there, of course. A mole, if you will. And before you ask, I would stand my own spies, but they are not trained for wasteland missions, and I also need them here, now that I know there is a security breach within the city. So, interested? You shall be rewarded lavishly, of course. Interesting. Oh, and Fort Larius is right here. Smack dab in the middle of nowhere. I don't know. Looks... Never tried going across the wind bed, so... Possibly need to go in a straight line here. That's the safest. There could possibly also be some sort of settlement around here. Just looks like the perfect place for it. I also have a feeling something is going to bar us from going this way. Otherwise, closing the Crimson Gate would be ineffective. Or the Retarnox. You know what? Unless you give me a time limit of some sort, I can probably accept this. Excellent. Now, what I need you to do is to see if there is some outlaw warband stationed at Fort Larius. I am convinced there is, and if so, gain admittance into their ranks. Once inside, gather as much information as you can. Try to talk to their leader, maybe even gain his confidence. Find out whether they are behind the recent raids, and even more important, how they managed to acquire confidential knowledge from inside Teneb Vitris, that is, this city. How will I contact you when I'm done without raising suspicion? That you must figure out by yourself, but I assume there shall come an opportunity when they want to send back someone to the city to do some further spy work. It might as well be you, if you have their trust by then. You tell him you'll be on your way. Tullus Capasius nods with appreciation. The Empire thanks you. Well now, looks like I got a bit of a spying mission. Travel to Fort Larius and make contact with its inhabitants. You were hired by Magistrate Tullus Capasius to investigate the ruins of Fort Larius, infiltrate the outlaws who inhabit it, and find out everything you can about them. Okay. But there's also that thing that has been consistently going on with this faction called the abolitionists, who are freeing slaves left and right from some unknown base. And since it appears I have been a law-abiding citizen of the Empire so far, I don't really have their favor, so it's questionable if that place is inhabited by them, whether they would let me in. We shall have to see. Okay. Let's check if something happened with the wind already. Same old. And it still cost me movement. Because why not? And finally, inquire about obtaining a license for a permanent outpost. And we can pay 200 plus additional 50 for the paperwork, naturally. Here we go. Oh, my heart breaks having to spend this much money. The clerk flashes a rather dishonest and artificial smile at you. That's called a customer service smile. And yeah. Great, he says, while shoving your coins into a drawer. The Empire thanks you for your support. The man proceeds to scribble something on a small piece of parchment, then hands it to you. This document proves that you have paid your dues. Should you be looking into the property catalog of another major settlement, this will guarantee free browsing through those. Wait, the Shatter doesn't even have them. Oh, come on. At least this part is done. Oh, there we go. There actually is something. Stories in alignment. We can do this once every 6 days. Browse the Officium Factum's catalog for a site you can purchase. Alright, hit me. Although the clerk does not seem gleeful about it, he gets up from behind his desk and beckons you to follow him. He leads you into a back room where he points you to an oversized book, which contains rows and rows of purchasable land within the Riven realms. Most of these are already sold, he explains, so it might take some time to find something that might interest you. He sighs, then begins to flip the pages. Just let me know when something catches your eye. You start to browse the gigantic ledger of properties. You keep poring over the book for what feels like ages, yet you are unable to find any strip of land worth purchasing. Then, when you are just about to give up, something catches your eye. You point at it, indicating it might interest you. The clerk leans over your shoulder. Ah, excellent choice, he says. The salt mining strip, just northwest of Brinemere. Salt is a valuable commodity. The price is affordable too. You have been to that region, so you have quite a solid idea of what the property and its yields might be worth. It could prove lucrative to secure it for yourself. Oh hey, interesting. So actual prior knowledge plays a part in these? I didn't think that would happen. Let's see about the specifics. The clerk furrows his brows. Unfortunately, that specific plot of land can only be purchased at the Officium Factum in Deven. And there is the bureaucracy. Imperial bureaucracy certainly has its charms. I mean, how hard would it be to just make a copy and distribute it among all the officiums? Whatever. Nothing to be done about this right now. Leave the Officium Factum. Well, at least that's one thing we never have to bother the Shatter for. And with that, let's quickly grab. Where was it? This is one for 2 spaces and 2 for 1. That's perfect. I don't think there's anything else I need at the moment. So, onwards we go. And we're in Lumen. Let's drop these off real quick. Replenish supplies. And then rest before I forget. Wonderful. Okay. Let's hand this over. Get reimbursed a little bit. Well, isn't that nice? Candide smiles. We are actually making progress. Thank you, dearest Vagrus. Keep up the good work. Speaking of which... Okay, let's see what the next step is. Now this might be a little tricky, Candide begins. Given what you've seen of her, you wonder how outlandish something must be for her to consider it tricky. I have just read about an interesting experiment, one that will help in my research for sure. For that, I'll need copper, not the tricky part, and some pulvis phantasma, commonly called spectral residue. Tends to accumulate around where incorporeal undead dwell or perish. Do you think you can handle that? You assure her that you can. Huh. Okay, still on chapter 2. 8 copper and 6 spectral residue. So apparently we need to go out of our way to find ghosts and fight them. I haven't the faintest idea how to do that. What I do know, however, is that back in Deven, I started a quest for another possible companion, and he was haunted by ghosts. And he sent me to get some special candles from the Ashkulites. Where was it? Ah, here we are, the haunting of Vrak. He decided to help the wraith thief called Vrak in breaking the curse that draws specters to haunt him. Now, if this means exactly what I think it means, then I am going to fight some ghosts, which would probably net me some spectral residue. So I think I'm going to Deven. And I think I have to go to the Church of Ashkul first and get a blessing that would let me actually hurt those ghosts. Okay. And I can also look at the ledger over at Deven to see if there's any place for an outpost I can buy. Alright then, see you in Deven. And I am here. Welcome to Deven. I've seen it a couple of times, but you guys are gonna be witnessing it the first time. Look at this. It's just so cool. The entire city underground. There's like a big stone spire above them. They're channeling the light down. Oh, it's so nice. Okay, now the thing with Vrak is technically outside Deven. So let's go to the temple ward here. To the necropolis, which is where the Church of Ashkul is. Oh, I can petition for audience with the high-ranking priest. I wonder what that does. You are led by novices to a quiet, spacious chamber in the grandest temple of the god of death, where several petitioners sit on slab-like stone benches, waiting to be called into one of the halls, where Ashkulite public officials listen to their pleas and issues. Not just anyone can meet Watcher Kaliteos. You end up doing so because you are a known friend of the church. The impossibly tall undead covered in dark robes greets you calmly, leaning on a jet black staff as support. Huh. So an undead guy is a high-ranking official in the Dead Church. I mean, it's not really a surprise, but yeah. Do you think he wears another skeletal leg as stilts? That's why everyone says he's tall. It's just a normal skeleton with double legs. That would be funny. Anyway. How could you be of service of the great king? I really hope you're not gonna send me on a holy quest or something. There are several matters that might benefit from your expertise, Vagrus. The metallic voice seems to originate from the hollow skull beneath the cowl. Let us discuss them and see if the church can make use of your services at this time. Ha. Caliteus wants you to destroy a renegade undead for the church. Well, I mean, technically I do have to start hunting undead a little bit, just for the spectral residues, or maybe this will be beneficial. Let's see. There is a certain individual who has become a renegade in the eyes of the church. The Watcher's face remains unreadable as his voice booms from his skull. As you may know, we have strict rules regarding undeath and who controls it. Know that it is not because we are seeking control, but because the Great King is responsible for all those who enter his realm, and all undead have been there. But let us forsake philosophy and theology for the sake of the matter at hand. The individual in question calls itself Thotmas, and we have reason to believe that you are already acquainted. Oh no. Thotmas is the guy, the skeleton guy over in Arcane. He's the sculptor who's trying to make himself a body with enchanted clay. Oh, I don't want to kill the guy. I like him. You confirm the Watcher's suspicion. He pierces you with his otherworldly gaze. Then you know that it resides in Arcane and that his state is quite extraordinary. The church can confirm that Thotmas' creation was blasphemy and that the soul should move on to Tartarus. We need someone to destroy Thotmas. That is Ashkul's will. You would be handsomely rewarded, naturally. You ask Caliteus why they require an independent agent such as you instead of using the church's forces. The church does as it pleases, Vagrus. It uses independent agents all the time. Do you not wish to serve in such capacity? Something tells you that the Watcher's ire was provoked. But perhaps we owe you some form of explanation. How about this? The church, despite serving Ashkul without question, is not unified in all matters. The Arcane Temple and its priests do not agree with us on Thotmas' situation. They will not interfere with our decision, but they will not aid us either. And so, an independent such as yourself is our best choice. That is, if you are willing to take the assignment. Yeah, no, I am not gonna do that. I like the guy, and I really hope I can somehow help him finish his body. There are several matters that might benefit from your expertise, Vagrus. Okay. We've been here before. You have no other tasks for me. I might start checking back periodically. See if maybe I can just hunt undead, the generic kind. Let's see. See what services the priests offer. Many people turn to the Great King's servants. Most popular are those petitioning for a quiet death, a proper funeral, or a contract of binding, but the priests are open to all kinds of requests. Here we can buy Ashkulite charms here, which is basically lure, but for the undead. And I don't have them. Kinda think it would pay me to at least have a couple of them, in case I ever run into a bigger horde of undead, maybe. Okay, short prayer for your patronage is also included with your purchase. Yay, free stuff. Okay, there's a candle maker. This is where I got the special candle for Vrak. We can have ourselves and the crew blessed by the priests. I think this is what I'm needing here. The blessing of Ashkur is said not only to keep accursed undead away, but also has a chance to protect those under the effects of the blessing, making them more resilient. The priests tell you that the effects usually last a week, sometimes more, sometimes less. Okay. We can get a blessing for coin. Pretty cheap, all things considered. Have them bless your comitatus for being an ally of the church. Obviously. We can do it for spectral residue. Looks like we can ask for a double-sized blessing. Same here. Well, this is what I need. Pay for a blessing of unbinding. Allows your companions to damage impervious enemies for 12 days. Okay, pretty hefty price, but... that's the price of ghost busting. Okay, I can stack them, right? So if I buy this... 3 priests gather around you and your comets in a quiet chamber, much like a tomb. One of the holy men leads the ritual, wielding a carved scepter made of a femur. The large black granite statue of the great king looks down upon you with indifference, but towards the end of the chanting, you can almost feel something in its cold gaze. Is it pity? You all rise with a strange sensation in your bones. Okay, yeah, I can stack these. Interesting. Let's also get a blessing then. Oh, of course, you lose a little bit of reputation if you make use of it. That makes sense. Okay, so now I should be completely ready for what lies ahead. Okay, before I deal with anything around here, let's get out. And our business is supposed to be here in the spires. I only know the ones that you have to slay, but these are pretty nice. Ancient, unknowable, impossibly tall, impervious to damage, and so black they seem to swallow the light. The spires have watched silently over the wasteland around Deven for a millennium. What was their purpose, and who created them? It is unlikely that mortals of this age will ever know. Nothing like a little mystery in your day. The great spires tower over you, the ominous pitchback columns standing taller than any stone or tree of the wasteland's natural forests. The wind seems to shun the place, its gales and breezes somehow getting lost or repelled as they enter the labyrinth of dark pillars. The air is surprisingly cool here, even though the blazing sun can be glimpsed over the jagged crown of the spires, yet nobody seems to be willing to settle this eerie place, and thus silence rules supreme. Alright, let's look for the guy. It takes quite a while to find Vrak, simply because this place is so enormous. Eventually, you happen upon the haunted wraith in a spacious open field at the heart of the spires, where the proximity of the black pillars creates a sort of a chamber with only 3 exits. Vrak is sitting in the middle of a hermetic circle drawn onto the rocky ground with chalk. He has an exquisite silver urn the size of his chest right next to him. You leave the comitatus some ways away and enter the open space with only your hardiest commas in tow. In other words, it's a companion fight. You're here, Vrak states matter-of-factly, although his expression betrays disbelief. You wonder if he believes that you are apparitions come to torment him. But this sensation passes in a moment. Then the wraith jumps up and approaches you. By the gods below, you're here. That's great, just great. Shall we? Begin the ritual, I mean. The ritual that might free me or kill us all. No other way, I'm afraid. The wraith is biting his nails, and his gaze darts between the exits as if waiting for something bad to happen. Alright then. Tell him that you are ready to perform the ritual. Let's see how badly this can go. You hand over the small blue candles, and Vrak places them carefully around the silver urn, then proceeds to light them. They burn with a strange blue light that gives an odd hue to the sorcerer's circle, even now in daylight. The ritual I learned from a man down south, a man who worked for House Evocaris. Odd creatures, the lot of them, but at least they taught me this necromantic spell in exchange for coins. A lot of coins, mind you. Damn their hearts. Your wraith acquaintance keeps muttering as he makes the finishing touches. He draws a few symbols to a couple of key places and places himself in the center, right next to the urn. He instructs you to stand in a certain spot inside the circle and your companion on another. All you two need to do is utter the word Imprecore after Vrak does. They will come soon after I start the ritual. Don't run away, please. Vrak closes in his eyes and begins an incantation in an arcane tongue. His strange words fill the air, echoing of the silent, mud-black cyclopean spires around you. You stand just inside the circle, your gaze shifting from one side to the other, half expecting to finally glimpse the ethereal horrors that have haunted Vrak for so long. The wraith utters the word you need to echo several times, and you do your part. And then, just as the wraith's spell reaches its zenith, and the tiny blue flames of the magic candles flare up, they come. First, it is merely a whisper and a slight vibration in the air. Then, the noise becomes an eerie, high-pitched moan, and you feel cold, very cold. There, the wraith thief yells and points upwards, now having completed the ritual. You look up and see 4 ragged, transparent creatures that are circling in the air above you, coming lower and lower, moaning, shrieking, flitting downwards like ash in the wind. They look like death itself. In a few moments, they are low enough for you to reach them. Now, Vrak howls, draws a long dagger, and rushes at the closest spectre. Now you shall be vanquished, you creepy fucks. Alright then. Okay, you are unmovable from this position. That's maybe. Actually, which one of you has better defenses? 15 evade, 35 block. Yeah, no, you can't defend for shit. You're gonna stay here. Probably good enough. Let's quickly check these. Oh, these ones have 8 vitality. Oh, but 50% evade. Yeah, that can make things a little difficult. so 50% evade seems to be inherent to all the ghosts. And you give a 10% accuracy penalty. Well, it's a good thing then that Rank Island knows how to mark people. Alright. And I also have some resourcefulness, so I can probably win this. Oh, and they also regenerate power, huh? Alright then. Let's see, immune to displacement. Okay, so no kicking. Immune to stun. Here. And non-magical attack. Which we don't care about, because we are enchanted. Right. Okay, let's start with the shank. Can you even make ghosts bleed? No, you cannot. Okay, does 200% resist mean? Like it does in Darkest Dungeon, so you cannot do it no matter what? Or does it mean, like in other RPGs, that you actually heal from them? Let's start hitting these guys and then see. Okay, they don't seem to be doing much damage. Alright, Vrak, what can you do? Throw dagger. Or a lethal lunge. Retreating swing. Okay, let's look at it like this. Okay, pretty decent accuracy on the throw. Little worse for the lunge. Ignores 20% block, which doesn't help me since they are all evading. You also have pretty high evade, so maybe letting you go with some lunges wouldn't be bad. But let's try throwing first. Yeah, this might take a while. Finally. That took the better part of 20 minutes or so. Finally, the last of the undead is vanquished, driven into scraps of ethereal residue that disappears into thin air. No, I needed those. You look around and see Vrak, hurt but alive, covered in spectral residue, blinking in disbelief. Alright, quick, let's scrape the stuff off of him. I'm gonna need it for the quest. They are gone, he mutters. They are gone. They are gone, they are gone, they are gone. Vrak keeps repeating the words, then breaks down and weeps. It takes a minute or two before he recovers. Then he wipes his eyes and starts to laugh. That too takes a while to die down, but the wraith still has a wide, ghoulish smile spread across his pale face when he turns to you. I'm sorry, it's been 6 years, 6 accursed years, and now they are gone. For good too. I can feel it, or, well, I cannot feel them anymore. Oh boy, this is the best day of my life. He laughs heartily, then hands you the silver urn. Take it, take it, take it. Oh sure, it is worth a lot, but I don't want to see it ever again. And you've more than earned this. It's safe. We unhaunted it, see. When you examine the urn, Vrak stumps the candles and breaks the chalk circle in several places. Come to think of it, he mutters. It must have been my 3 bodies and the original spirit that was bound to the urn. It looked different. He chuckles. So I would have joined them, I think, had they snuffed me out, the nasty buggers. You leave the ritual place and start to walk back towards the Comitatus. You know, I could do anything with my life now. Anything. I'm free, I've been liberated. I could travel the world, see what's out there. The blazing sun's light hits Vrak as he moves out of the shadows and he reels back. Or, I could just stay in Deven, eh? Pretty good city, lots of cool caverns. I have to think about it. I think I'll stay here for now. You go ahead, join your buddies. And thank you again, Vagrus. You have really been way too kinder to me than I deserve. And so Vrak shakes your hand and you part ways. In a few minutes, he disappears among the spires. You walk back to your crew. Got 1 valuable treasure. 4 spectral residue. Damn it, I needed 6. So that's gonna take a while. And to insight. The great spires tower over you, the ominous pitch-black columns standing taller than any stone or tree. Okay, I read these already. Let's quickly take a closer look. You walk up to one of the gigantic black pillars and take a closer look. The surface is uniformly smooth, and not even a single hairline crack is visible on it anywhere. Its mud darkness seems to consume the light. The spire is cool to the touch, which should be quite impossible, seeing how the sunlight hits it directly. Whoever built these must have used truly extraordinary means to achieve this confounding result. Okay, and what can you do with this information? Not much of anything, it looks like. Well done. Okay, that went well, all things considered. But I am just a touch disappointed. Thought we could get him as a companion. Or maybe he is here somewhere. Maybe back in the slums? Doesn't look like it. No? Well, maybe he will show up sometime. Okay, what does the journal say? It only says completed. Well, boo. At least I got some spectral residue out of it. That's over half my quota done. Well, alright then. I think I'm going to stop here. Thank you for watching. If you like my misadventures, then please consider giving the video a like. And as always, I hope to see you in the next one. But until then, safe travels, Vagrus.